Hey guys, Matt here from Brewery. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Got some new attire that came in last week. So supporting the Short Circuited Brewers channel, Brian over there at Short Circuited Brewers. Go ahead and check out his channel. I'll put up a link here for where you can find him. Great guy, very helpful. I really appreciate all of his advice. I've been asking him some questions about video and audio type of work. Awesome channel, full of tons of great information, very professional videos. So definitely check them out. So what I figured I would start with today, this is my coconut porter. I believe this might actually be my last bottle. I've been purposely hanging on to a couple of beers of mine that I've made months ago, and I just want to see how these age. This was bottled in December. It probably was brewed in, might have been brewed in like November timeframe, I believe. I think I actually brewed this one. Yeah, this was the double brew day. This one and the Gose Cuervo, which is long gone. But I wanted to see just how this porter does with age. This is a 6.3% ABV. There we go. Got a little bit of a hiss on there. That cap did not want to come off. Making a little bit of a mess. It looks like it's got good carbonation in there. And from memory, I think the coconut does and has faded. So, but yeah, that's well carbonated. What I was doing with the Blickman beer gun, because this was bottled off the Blickman beer gun, is I would not over carb, but I would move up the carb level from serving pressure. My serving pressure is usually somewhere between 8 and 10 psi, depending on the beer. And then I crank it up to like 12 or 13, I guess. The night before, I'm going to bottle it. That way it gets good carbonation. So it seems to work out okay, so I continue with that practice. But yeah, it's got some plenty of bubbles streaming up alongside of the glass there. Very, very dark. So it can almost pass for a stout. It's very dark. It's got like an interesting sort of like stone fruit aroma to it now. There's no coconut there. I'm definitely picking up a lot of like it's interesting. It's like apricots maybe. I'm also picking up some like plums, some like a raisiny kind of a character. It's really interesting how this has evolved over time with age. So let's see. So I brewed this thing this has been about 6 months ago. So it's getting up there in age, but it's not going to last any longer because I think this is the last bottle. So let's see what we got. Cheers. Huh. Interesting. Very, very interesting. It's like you do still get a little bit of coconut in the taste. That is surprising. I'm surprised that that's there. It's not anywhere near the power punch that it used to have, but it's there. It's that's neat. What I was trying to go for this beer was like an Almond Joy kind of a thing. I wanted it to kind of taste like that. It still kind of does. It's a lot less on the coconut though. Excuse me. Yeah, the coconut's definitely still there. It's just really subdued from what it used to be. Still got a lot of good chocolatey note flavors to it. It does have a little bit of a nutty taste to it, which is interesting. That wasn't there originally, so that's cool. So I guess this is one of those beers, if I were to make it again as a porter, just gotta leave it sit for a little bit longer. And then I would have to constantly infuse the coconut. That's one of those things where I've noticed what I did worked out really good. And it kept the coconut in the beer for probably a month. Or two, and then it really started to fade away after that. So I would say if I was to do this again, I'd probably have to reinfuse it with coconut again if I age it. So that turned out pretty good. All right, so I have some video that I want to show you guys after this, so I'll try to keep this part of it brief. The updates that I have for you guys this week, the main one, I actually earlier today before dinner, I went ahead and racked off the Rasputin's beer that I made. I made that beer again, this time for a friend. He wanted the batch, so he gave me the money for the ingredients, and I said, okay, I'll brew it for you, and then you can take most of it. I want to keep some of it around here because I like to see how this kind of evolves as I make minor changes to the recipe. I did make a couple of minor changes this time. I really liked how the recipe has turned out lately with the water profile here in South Carolina. So the only thing I wanted to do was just tone down that stone fruit flavor that was in there and really bring up more of the body and the the Russian Imperial Stout aspect of the beer. And I took a taste today, and it was pretty good. It started out at 10.95 and it ended at 10.18. So it turns out to be a 10.10% ABV, which is actually a little bit stronger than the last version. The last version was just at 10%, so this is ever so slightly higher. I did taste a little bit of an alcohol note in it, which is not common in this recipe of all the times I've made it. So maybe that'll tone down as it ages. I don't plan on bottling it and doing anything with it for a while. So I transferred it over to a secondary. It's been in the primary for 3 weeks. And I'll probably just sit there and let it and just forget it for like 2-3 months before I decide to bottle it. So other updates we have going on. So we have the, of course, we have the SJ Pour Challenge. I've already reviewed all my beers. I've scored everything, and I've sent my scores in. I know other people have probably done that by now as well. So get those scores in there. I know a lot of us are itching to see how we did in round 1, and then we can have the All-Stars join us, and that'll be a lot of fun. Let's see, Brewtubers Yeast Experiment. Hey guys, we had an excellent time. That was a really, really cool experiment, and I really enjoyed getting all those different beers and all those different yeast and try them out. Huge thank you to Gary from main brew guy from Tap Out Brewing. Man, I mean, flawless execution. I mean, there were a couple of little bumps, but you know what? For what we did and the amount of people that were involved, the consistency of all those beers was just outstanding. We have a great following of brewers in that experiment, and it showed in every one of those beers. We really got to focus on the yeast, and we really got to see exactly what each yeast brought to the table, because we didn't have to worry about virtually any other variables. And that's exactly what you want out of an experiment like that, when you're just trying to pick out one ingredient and see what it does. So I think that was done. I know there's a couple guys that still haven't submitted their scores, so I implore you guys to try to do that quickly. Just from a selfish standpoint, I want to see how everything is. It would be really interesting to see how they all did compared to what my thoughts were. I plan on brewing it again, the West Coast IPA recipe, and I plan on using one of those yeasts. Right now, my own personal preference, I have it kind of narrowed down to like 3 that I might want to try. But I first want to see what everybody else has thought about the same yeast, just to see if my taste buds and my sensory is on point or not. So that should be a lot of fun. I started drawing up a couple of ideas because I started to think about what I'm going to be brewing as the warmer weather is coming in. It was 90 degrees here today, so it's already getting warm, very warm. So I got the Munich Helles. I've already put in an order for some ingredients, so hopefully that'll come in the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to come in as quick as it normally does, because a lot of these companies are prioritizing what they send out and when. So it's caused a bit of a backlog and some people getting their orders quickly. I don't expect to get things in the next couple of days. I expect it's probably going to take at least a week or 2 to get those ingredients. And that's fine, because I have enough ingredients to brew a couple of things already, and I just wanted to line up other things. So my other plan, I wanted to make I haven't made this in a couple of years, but I want to make another cherry wheat beer. I really liked the last time I made it. I've never made it down here, so it would be neat to see it with the new water profile. I have a bit of a twist. I'm going to rebrew the Dropkick Nate. I'm going to call it Wrecked Nate, unless I can come up with a better name. Because what I want to do is I want to take his recipe as it is. I'm not going to share it unless he wants me to, or you can easily go to him and get that same information. But what I want to do is brew his beer, but I want to use up some of the ingredients that I already have here on hand. So I plan on swapping out a couple ingredients. Instead of using the 2-row, I want to try to do this with a Pilsner malt, just for the fun of it. I have a different Munich malt here, so I want to try to use up some of that I got from the group buy. It's basically a Munich 1, but it's from a company called Swain in the Netherlands. So I just want to see how that kind of works in this beer instead of the Munich 1 that's normally in it. Hop schedule. So instead of doing the hops that he has, I'm going to swap them out, and I'm going to try a combination of Victoria's Secret, Simcoe, and Galaxy. I think that'll be a nice combination, so I want to try it. I kind of poked a couple of people online to see what they would think of that combination. I've never used Victoria's Secret, but I've had it sitting in the fridge and I want to try it. So we should see how this turns out. So Nate, this turns out to be an interesting version of the Dropkick Nate. We'll see. I don't know when I'm going to get around to brewing it because I have a couple things lined up. So we'll get that done. The last thing that I just wanted to go over quickly is there's a BrewTubers United Brew Day that's happening. I think they're calling it the Unity Brew Day. It's going to be this Saturday. Their plan is for 24 hours of brewing. So if you can get on there and live stream a brew day, or even just join in, definitely do so. You can find information all over the place. It's on the BrewTubers page. It's on the SJ Pour Challenge page on Facebook. It's in our WhatsApp. It's in our private chats. It's all over the place. So definitely try to jump onto that bandwagon if you can. It's going to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I'm working. I work weekends. My weekends consist of it's a compressed work schedule. So I work 3 days and I get 4 off. So those 3 days are basically working and sleeping. There's not really much time to do much else, so I can't brew. But I'm going to try to jump in from time to time and see how everybody's doing. And yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I wish I could have been a direct part of it, but I'll be there in spirit and I'll try to jump in and say hi when I can. So, well, that's all I have for you guys. Enjoy the footage of the transfer. Again, I tried to do another closed transfer. It's not quite a closed transfer because I'm moving it into a better bottle, but it's pretty darn close. And I didn't use the bouncer this time because I didn't see the point. I'll probably use it to move it to the keg when I'm ready to bottle. So with that, I hope everyone has a hell of a week. Happy Homebrew Wednesdays, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. Stay safe and wash your hands. Take care. This is Rasputin's beard. It's been in the fermenter for 3 weeks. And we're at 1018, which is right about what I expected it to be. It smells nice. Let's go ahead and try it. Oh yeah, that's very nice. And it definitely toned down slightly, toned down the stone fruits, which is what I was going for.